Boo! Haha! Scared ya! Just kidding. What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. My name is David Hanlon, aka the Laptop Legend, and in today's video, I want to talk about why stocks get halted and what are the different types of halts, what are some examples that we can show you from the past, what you can expect from halts, why it happens, because I've had a lot of beginners asking me, why is this stock not trading? Like, you guys, a lot of you guys don't know what it means, you don't know what it is, you don't know why it happens, you don't know where it happens, so I just want to explain what a halt is, why it happens, what are the different types of halts, and how it can affect your stock trading. Because if you're in a stock that's halted, it can have a big effect on the profitability of whatever trade you were in versus if the stock didn't get halted. So you guys need to understand what causes halts and what effect having a halt can have on a stock. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna make this video about. Should be pretty interesting, should be pretty useful, so please watch the end and enjoy. Please smash that like button if you haven't already, subscribe if you haven't already, and I don't know. Enjoy your day if you haven't already. Let's do it. All right, guys, so I'm here on my computer, and this is the NASDAQ Trader website.com, and here's where you can see all the different types of halts and all their different definitions. So if you guys actually want to go and read some more about this, definitely go to this website. But there's just a couple ones that I want to focus on because they are by far the most common. So the most common one that you will ever see is the LUDP, and I'm trying to find it. I'm blind. I'm feeling blind right here. I think I've scrolled past it 50 times already. There we go. LUDP, Volatility Trading Pause, and this is also known as the circuit breaker pause. And this happens when any type of stock that is trading on a major listed exchange goes outside a certain band in a certain amount of time. And it depends on the stock, it depends on the class of stock that it is. I think for certain stocks, if it moves 5% in 5 minutes, some it might be 10%, some it might be 20%, but if a stock is trading in between these and all of a sudden it perks up through there, it's gonna get halted, and that's a circuit breaker halt. It happens like this, and typically speaking, that is a 5-minute halt. It can also be a 10-minute halt. It can also be longer, but what is typical is either 5 or 10 minutes, and this is completely normal. This happens every single day in the stock market. So if you're trading a stock and all of a sudden it gets halted and you're a beginner, you might be like freaked out. You're like, what's going on? The stock just got suspended. No, it's completely normal. Very, very normal. I mean, just normal. I have no other word for it. It happens a lot on the most volatile stocks of the day. So if you're trading the most volatile NASDAQ stocks, you're going to encounter this issue. And if you go to trading halt history, you can actually see all the stocks here that had this type of halt throughout the day. Now, if they're on the Amex instead of the NASDAQ, it's going to be M, which is, if I scroll down to the bottom here, you can see it's also a volatility trading pause. So it's literally the exact same thing as an LUDP, M, or LUDP. They're the exact same thing, just depends on the exchange that they're on, but for all intents and purposes, they're the same thing. And that's again where the stock moves too quickly in a certain period of time. It can get up halted or it can get down halted. And typically what we see happen is if a stock halts to the upside, it's because it's moving too fast. And what happens is they reopen the stock once they find a balance of buyers and sellers. And typically speaking, if a stock gets halted to the upside, it's because there's more buyers than sellers. That's why the price is moving up. So when that happens, typically speaking, a stock is going to gap up. And again, gapping up is where a stock closes at a certain price, stops trading, and then when it begins trading, there's a gap, and it trades starting at a higher price. So say it halted up at $10, it opens at $11. There's a gap between 10 and 11. That's called a gap up. So just so you guys understand that. And this is very, very typical when we have these super, super volatile stocks. And typically speaking, this happens on low float stocks where there's not a lot of shares available out there for people to trade. And this is just something that you have to get used to in the market. Now, if we have a really, really volatile stock that turns into a massive short squeeze, we'll get a bunch of consecutive upside halts, which makes it extremely difficult to get out if you have any type of size as a short seller. It can, I mean, literally, it could get halted upside, be halted for 5 minutes, it reopens, say it gets halted at $10, halted for 5 minutes, reopens at $11, it immediately spikes up to $11.50 or $12 and gets halted again. That could happen within 3, 4, 5 seconds, and then it gets rehalted. And it's halted for another 5 minutes. Maybe it's halted 10 minutes this time. Reopens at $13, immediately spikes up to $14, gets halted again. So if you have 100,000 shares short on a stock like this, you really quickly get screwed because you can't cut your losses. You're trying to sell, but the amount of time where you can buy or sell is just so small that it's almost impossible to get executed all those shares. So keep that in mind, guys. It can be very dangerous to play stocks like this when they're getting halted a ton of times. But there can also be a lot of really, really good opportunities. And again, this is just this typical circuit breaker halt. And we've seen that so many times in the markets. This is just on the 18th. I guess that was Thursday. You can see all these stocks that were halted. All these stocks that were halted, and it happens very, very frequently. Now, what can happen is occasionally when there is such an imbalance of buyers and sellers that 5-minute halt, 10-minute halt turns into a much longer halt. And typically speaking, when those halts go on for longer than 10 minutes, the stock drops a ridiculous amount, and that creates a huge gap down. So it might halt down at $10 and it might reopen at $5, which is really, really terrifying if you've got any type of big position, because you instantly lose 50% of your money. And that's personally why I'm not a huge fan of trading NASDAQ stocks, because you have no opportunity to cut your losses if you get stuck in a stock that's halting down and it reopens 50% below. You have no opportunity to cut your losses, which is why I like OTC stocks, because you guys might not know this, but there's no volatility halts, at least to my knowledge, on OTC stocks. So if they spike up and they go from 1 penny all the way up to 5 pennies in a matter of 2 minutes, it's still not going to get halted. So it can go pretty much supernova, and it just trades differently, which is why I personally like OTCs. But I have an example for you of what can happen when a stock gets down halted and does not reopen 10 minutes later. And if I pull this up here, you can see this is the chart from UAVS on April 30th. And my goodness. So if I go to the time here, you can see this was 10 a.m. This was 10:11 a.m. and it gets down halted right here at about 2:90. Where does it reopen? Well, let's see. It reopens at 11:06 a.m. So it reopens just under an hour later, and it reopens down at it reopens down here. It reopens at 1:27. 1:27. It reopens at 1:27. So it down halts at 2:90 and reopens at 1:27 because it was halted for an hour. So this is the type of crazy, crazy, scary loss situation you could be stuck in if you get stuck in a halt that lasts longer than your typical time frame. Now, if you want to see a different example of this, let me go to TCAT, because this actually, if I let me get rid of on demand real quick here. Let's go 5 days, 1 minute. You can see here this stock had a similar thing happen right in this area, and it got down halted here at 11:45, and it didn't reopen. Am I tripping? 11:45. Okay. Yeah, so that's what happened. So it got halted here on this candle, strangely enough. And this is the next type of halt that I want to talk to you guys about. And this happens also a lot with stocks like this. And if I go to these trading halts here, you can see the next type is T1. This is the next type that I want to talk to you guys about. And this means that trading is halted pending the release of material news. And a lot of times what that news is on these stocks that are spiking up really big is the stocks come out with a press release and they say, listen, guys, we are not aware of any material changes or anything in our company that would explain this type of increase in the price. Our stock is up 400% today and nothing's changed about the company. AKA, we think this price increase is stupid. And if a stock is halted for an hour and comes out with news like that, typically speaking, man, it sees a really, really big dip. And that's actually what happened here. So if I go to the news, I'm trying to see, what day was this? This is on the 18th. I'm trying to see where, yeah, trading halted pending release. Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, so here you go. It says, Tuckung Art in AK filing says, is not aware of any material undisclosed corporate developments or material changes, business or affairs that has not been publicly disclosed. So, in other words, we don't know why our stock has gone all the way from $2 up to $43. We have no explanation for that. We don't know why it did that. So I think it's pretty stupid. And because of that, you see the stock price tanked a lot after that. Now, this stock actually is kind of crazy because I've almost never, ever seen a stock completely recover after a T1 halt where they come out saying, yeah, we don't think this stock should be up this much. So you can see it went down from, 27.60 as low as like 1850, but I mean, that's a big drop, but it came all the way back up. So it's kind of crazy. This is very, very unusual. If you get stuck in a stock that has a T1 halt, that is really, really bad news for you. I've got a couple other examples of stocks like that, and you guys need to look at these charts because these are some of the craziest things you will ever see. So ACY and RHE, I was trading them on this day. I actually traded RHE on this day, and this was an absolutely crazy day. If I go to RHE, you guys can see they both supernovaed on the exact same day. This one went from like $1.50 all the way up to $15 in one day. Absolutely insane. I bought it like 3 and sold half at 12, sold half on the way back down at like 6. Absolutely insane trade. I mean, I made like 3 or 400% on one trade. And what happened was it got halted up multiple times to the upside, and then it ended up doing the exact same thing. So what day was this? This was 12/28. So I actually love this about TD Ameritrade Thinkorswim, because you can go back, and find the intraday chart for any stock on any date that they have in their system. So it's pretty cool. The 1-minute candles are pretty hard to get for stuff like that. So you can see here, absolutely insane run up, guys. I mean, this was an unheard of. Well, I guess it's not unheard of, but it's one of those supernovas that is very rare, and it's just insane to watch. Now, what happened here was this stock literally kept halting to the upside, and it could not stop. You can see here, halted up 9:48, reopened 9:53, 5 minutes later, and halted up again. 9:59, halted up again. 10:04, halted up again. So like every 5 minutes, it would open and like immediately shoot up to the next level and halt again. And then it got halted here at the very top candle, and we were expecting this to continue to go because, I mean, it still got halted to the upside. This still could have gone, I mean, this could have gone to 100 with no red candles at all. I've seen that happen before. And luckily for, I guess, the shorts, this thing got halted here, and then it got stuck in a T1 halt pending news. And I'm not sure if I can see the news from that day. 12/28. Yeah, so it literally had the exact same thing. You guys can see here. Normally, the company does not comment on market activity or rumors. However, the company confirms that it is not aware of any undisclosed material change or development in its business or operations that would account for the recent unusual market activity in the company's stock. AKA, our stock is up a ridiculous amount, and we have no idea why. We don't think it's justified. So it was halted at 10:04, and it got halted for a long time. Reopened at 1:57 p.m. So if you bought it $38, this stock opened at $16. So you literally lost, I can't do that math in my head, 6 plus, what is that, 32? So I mean, you lost over 50% instantly when it reopened, which is scary. It's really scary, guys. So a lot of times when a stock is halting up, if you get in like after the first halt up, it can be a pretty good, risk reward scenario, especially if it's in a hot sector and other stocks are squeezing. RHE, this is the one that I personally traded that day, and it looks kind of similar. You can see I got stuck half of my shares in this halt right here. It halted 10:47, reopened 1:47. So I ended up selling the rest down here. Again, I sold half at like 12 on the way up. And then I ended up having half, tried to get out here, but got stuck in this downhaul and ended up selling the rest here. I was in from like this $3 area. But this was an insane trade and same type of idea, guys. If you ever get stuck in a halt that lasts longer than 10 minutes, that is a really, really bad sign. So stocks like these that are super volatile, you got to be really, really careful. I think W Key, this was one that was very recent, just a couple of days ago. And I mean, we've had a lot of stocks, guys, that, get these halt ups. This got halted at 12. Unhalted at 12:15, so I guess this one was a 15-minute halt. I guess that occasionally happens if there's more of an imbalance of buyers and sellers, and it went all the way up. So pretty crazy, guys. And that's pretty much it for these types of halts. The last one for the T1 halts, the last one I want to talk about is the T12 halt, and this is the absolute scariest halt if you are in a stock, because basically T12 halt is when a stock gets called to the principal's office. Now, what does that mean? That basically means that the SEC suspends trading because they think that the investing public may be at risk. And this can last up to 10 business days. And when this happens, oh my goodness, stocks get absolutely wrecked. They get absolutely wrecked, as you can imagine. So I mean, if a stock gaps down 50% on an hour-long halt or a 2 or 3 hour long halt, imagine what it would be for a 10-day halt. Imagine what it would be for a 10-day halt. Now, sadly, I don't have any good examples off the top of my head to show you guys of a T12 halt and what happened afterwards, but you can just do some imagining. I've got one that's similar because in OTC land, you can have stocks halted, for a long period of time. SEC does halt stocks. Look at COUV, guys. Look at COUV. Let me go to this chart right here. So this thing halted up. Let me go 1 year, 1 day. This thing halted up. I mean, I guess not halted up. It just got halted by the SEC. It got halted at 84 cents, and it reopened down at 11 cents. Now, it did bounce all the way up here because I think some shorts covered, and now it's down here 14 cents again. So, I mean, maybe it reopened down at 2 cents. It might have reopened down at 2 cents. I think it reopened down at 2 cents. So, I mean, it closed at 84 and reopened down at 2. Can you imagine if you bought up here? I mean, you lost like 95% of your position of the money you put in there instantly. And again, this was on the 9th. February 9th, and it reopened on February 25th. So that's the type of thing that can happen if you get stuck in a really long halt. So that is terrifying. You want to avoid those at all costs. Avoid those at all costs, guys. So that's the 3 main types of halts. Again, volatility halts are not a big deal, but the more they have to the upside, obviously the greater your risk is that they're going to turn into a T1 halt. And occasionally that actually does happen. So I should mention that. Occasionally a volatility halt will turn into a T1 halt. And I think that's actually what happened on ACY because it was halted to the upside as a volatility halt, circuit breaker halt, but then it turned into a T1 halt, news pending. And if you ever get stuck in that, that is not a good thing because almost always the company will just come out and say a very similar press release and they'll just say, listen, we're not aware of any undisclosed material changes in the company that would account for this movement in price. So if that happens, you are screwed. So always trade those stocks with low size unless you're, on the short side. But I mean, even if you're on the short side, that's still pretty scary to trade a stock that goes from 12 to 38 in, basically no time to get out. So keep that in mind, guys. A couple other things I want to talk about in terms of halts. This is probably the most important thing. I can't find this info anywhere, so I wanted to give it to you guys because literally I was looking for it on YouTube forever and I could not find it, and I think I finally found it. So I want to provide this so you guys can understand. So there's 2 things that you guys need to know. You need to know. So number 1, how do I know the exact halt level? Well, this is what it looks like. And if you have a premium broker, you're probably gonna be able to add this feature to your level 2. If you have any type of normal broker, if you have Fidelity, if you have E-Trade, if you have TD Ameritrade, if you have Schwab, if you have Webull, if you have, I don't even know, pretty much all those normal brokerages, I don't think you're gonna be able to get this. This is for like premium brokerages, like Centerpoint, etc. And it's just one of those premium features that come with that. And what you can do is you can actually change the color of certain market makers, and this is what you want to do. So LULD, that is. I think it's limit up, limit down. And this is basically how it's shown on the level 2. So whatever price this is the price that if it hits that, it will halt. So you can see here, a stock's currently trading 277. And if it hits 225 within a certain time period, it's going to halt down. If it hits 337 to the upside, it's going to halt down. So just keep that in mind, guys. This is how people know and can call out what the halt level is before it actually gets halted. And this can be a very, very helpful tool. I don't trade NASDAQ, so I really don't focus on NASDAQs. I focus on OTCs. But if you trade a lot of NASDAQs, this would be an invaluable tool to have when you are trading those stocks. Because if you know exactly where the halt level is going to be, and you want to get in before an up halt, and it's trading, I don't know, at like 335 or something, you're like, ooh, shoot, I'm going to get in before it up halts. Because typically speaking, if it up halts, it's going to gap up and maybe run a little bit. Sometimes it halts up and then comes right back down and goes into a down halt. That does happen sometimes. But if there's a lot of buying, maybe you want to get in right before that up halt. So just keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. This is how people know where it's going to be. And then here's the other thing I want to talk about. So I've always wondered this, and I'm not 100% positive this information is correct because I literally cannot find it anywhere online. None of my brokerages have this. Obviously, this is another premium brokerage feature, but people actually are aware of what the indication is for when a stock is halted, for where it is going to resume. And I'm pretty sure this is what it looks like. And you see how it says at 5 here. This is just a recording that I was watching. I was doing some stock studying, and you can see it has, IMB. I don't know what this means, but it says at 5, and the stock is currently halted. This is what it looks like when it's halted. You can actually see on the time and sales, it will print all of one color. Just the time and sales will look different. If you trade it all, you'll know what it looks like. But this is what it looks like, and it says at 5 here. It's been halted for like 4 or 5 minutes now. And right as it unhalts, the first print that I see is 5. So I'm almost positive that this is what they see, you know, on the indication for what the stock is going to reopen at. So again, if you trade these NASDAQs, that is really helpful information to have. Certain brokerages have this. I'm pretty sure others don't. And if you use one of those non-premium brokerages, you're not going to have access to this. So just keep that in mind. Yeah, I mean, those are the two kind of insider things about these halts that a lot of people don't know. Again, I have not found any other YouTube videos talking about it. So just keep that in mind, guys. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's all you need to know about halts. Be careful if a stock is being halted a bunch. It means it's volatile, probably low float, and could explode to the upside or the downside. So there's a lot of risk, but because of that, there's a lot of reward. So keep that in mind, guys. Hopefully you found this video helpful. If you did, I really need to think of something. I'm gonna think of something. I'm gonna get something for you. I'm gonna show you guys all my my credit card info. Here you go. Just kidding, but kind of cool green card. This is my green card. Now I'm a U.S. citizen. All right, that's it for you guys. That's all you're getting today. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, let's grow better together. Preguntar, bebé, dime por qué te mientes. No puedes esconder todo lo que tú por mí sientes.